Basically, this is what I look like. So, if you are horrified, turn back now. All right. So, anyway, it's the Friday edition of Kayal Goes Home. Basically, it's in follow-up to the Monday show. My one goal has been met. I have a camera set up through my phone right now, and I'm not too thrilled with it because some of you aren't going to see the final product, but I'm using like the selfie mode, and I have my phone attached to a vent. I'm not going to be looking at my phone, so it's not the best angle for like talking things out, but it's a like goal achieved basically. So anyway, in things that happened this week, New Jersey got hit with a snowstorm on Thursday, and today is Friday. So yesterday got hit with the snowstorm that they've been talking about all week, about 1 to 4 inches, a little bit more, in some parts, like 11 to 14 down in South Jersey, and I want to say Boston got flooded. I saw pictures of cars frozen in the streets. One woman, her house was flooded, and the flood was frozen, so she had to get on her roof, and a bulldozer had to raise its bucket up so it could get her out. Yeah, that really sucked for those people. Meanwhile, Bill Belichick is all like up front saying, if anyone shows up late, you're going home. Like, you're not practicing that day. I want to see like not the last man on the roster, but I want to see like the 10th guy, and I want to see Tom Brady like show up at the exact same time, like a minute past 7:30, and one guy gets sent home, and Tom Brady's like, well, Tom, we can start practice now. So anyway, it's like almost the first week after New Year's, and it's been cold. Like, everyone I see on Instagram is complaining about it being cold and stuff like that, and there's a lot of thank God it's 2017 is over and stuff. Meanwhile, pretty much every problem that we've had so far still exists in one form or another. So, like, you know how like time is a thing that we made up so that we can measure space between events? The events are still going on for the most part, so that's a little bit interesting to me. Same way how like we invented money, we invented time. So let's see how this year goes. And besides, like, I don't even put stock in that. Like, things that affect other people, while they're very monumental, like if you don't have like a good personal year, like that's how you can really measure it. So, because I remember one year everyone was happy, we had a great 2000 whatever. Meanwhile, I was very grateful to have the end of the year that I got, but I was not happy with the events of that year. It's just like you can't deal with too many things at once. It's like, and things that like they're sad, they're tragic, they're painful, but if you're still alive, then celebrate. So anyway, trying to think of like things that happened in the news that were newsworthy, and I want to say there was a lot of like not really things. Catch you guys up on the books I've been reading. I read I'm like maybe a book behind or two on Paper Girls, which is written by Brian K. Vaughan and Liv Zhang. Is the artist. I really like that book. It's starting to actually tell a story, and it's like when you start watching a movie, like there's an acclimation period from the beginning to when you can, like, the story really picks up. Like, you're trying to figure out who's who, who's what, where things fit into place. And I think after 17 issues, like, it really came into like what's going on, which, good for them. I mean, it's not taking you like a year and a half just to, like, let you in on, like, what's really going on, because you knew what was going on. You could see what was going on. Like, the first arc was 1988. The second arc was caveman time, and then the third arc is the year 2000, which I'm fine with that. I mean, they're just gonna go no, wait, no, I got that wrong. Caveman arc was third arc. It goes 1988, 2016, like, I don't know, 1,000,000 BC, whatever year that was. Then now they're doing year 2000, and I'm enjoying the book. I really am. A lot of people really like it. And plus, I will say this about comic book news. You hear about it on Twitter because you hear about smaller events across. Things that are local become national when it comes to Twitter. And, like, some people were talking about 3 different stores, comic book stores, really good ones, are closing down. And everyone asks why. There's no one real reason. Like, if you want to talk about the, like, related to comics reasons, and not, like, the societal ones, like, publishers, like, they try new things, and they don't necessarily take off. Like, Marvel, like, this year decided to, or this past year, replace or change up either the gender or the nationality or the skin color or whatever of, I shouldn't say skin color, because it's like, it's not like they took Peter Parker and made him black, but they replaced Spider-Man Peter Parker with Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I don't have a problem with that. Like, it goes to the argument of, like, why can't Donald Glover be Spider-Man? It's like, Donald Glover can be Spider-Man, no problem. Like, I'm not comfortable making him Peter Parker, because I have this, like, totem relationship with Peter Parker, even though he's a made-up character. Like, I've always seen him as one way. He's been drawn consistently one way. Or, like, in the style of, or harkening back to one way. Like first it was Steve Ditko, then it was, like, John Romita, and from then on it was like a variation of the two. Like, but people talk about, like, James Bond. I don't have an issue with James Bond being black or a woman, but there's something about the character that it's been done a number of ways. Like, if we're gonna get a woman, I want, like, call me a pig or whatever, but, like, I want to see Bond girls. I don't want to see Bond guys. You know what I'm saying? I want the Walter PPK. I want the vodka martini, shaken not stirred. I want the fancy cars. And if Idris Elba becomes Bond, I mean, we can get that. I mean, like, like, even if you did a bridge thing where you didn't even call him James Bond, you just called him 007. 007, played by Idris Elba. No problem whatsoever. Codename Bond. Like, Daniel Craig gets shot in the head in the first 5 minutes, and then they recruit Idris Elba to become the new James Bond. Okay. A little jarring, but okay. So, if we have a woman, Bond, and this just goes to, like, the nature of the character. Like, Doctor Who. Doctor Who is an ever-changing character. Every time they reboot the show or they bring in a new doctor, they just, which they really painted, whoever decided, like, back in the day that there was going to be 12 doctors total, like, they really threw a knife up in the air hoping that someone would catch it and not do real harm. So, Doctor Who, they could become any actor. Like, I'm waiting for a prosthetic Doctor Who where it's like it's like they're gonna cast Doug Jones to be the Doctor, but he's like something that Doug Jones would play, like a cross between Abe Sapien and Silver Surfer, or whatever character he is in The Shape of Water, where he's the fish man. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to from like the Doctor Who series eventually. But they just cast a woman after 50, 60 years, however long Doctor Who's been around. Then maybe 70, I don't know. Doctor Who's a very old concept. It's the longest running show in Britain, I know that. Or at least I think so. I mean, anyway, like, I'm curious, like, just like, because I think about these things, who's coming out with a black actor first? Doctor Who or James Bond? So, we'll see who wins that in the future. Then we have, alright, the other book I read this week was Deadly Class, which Deadly Class is equal parts Stand By Me, The Breakfast Club, and I want to say the movie Assassins, or Scarface, or like every crime movie that you've ever seen. Like they got street gangs, they have cartels, they have over the top characters, they have like a Chinese principal that is in charge of the school that all these kids go to learn how to be better criminals and all that stuff. And I think I saw an image a couple months ago where I think it's a future cover where it's a time skip, and maybe it's like from a future arc where, because it's a school premise, like the book, these kids go to school to be better criminals. So year one happens and then a whole bunch of shit goes down. Year two, new kids come in to play or whatever. But is it like a 4-year school or a 3-year school? But anyway, if it's a 4-year school, then we have at least 2 more major arcs that I can think of. Unless they do a time skip, which they can really mess around. But like the cover I saw, like it gives you an idea what's going to happen, but it's going to like raise questions. So, anyway, I'm not a fan of this setup because clearly it just fell. So, I'm going to pause for a second and see how much battery life I have. And then check this out. I'm going to finish this up like real quick. Double Barrel Theater updates. You can check me out at MWKayal, at MWKAYAL. That is Twitter and Instagram. So if you want to follow some of the stuff I'm doing, I'm going to be working on that. my weekend goals to update you guys on Monday. I'm submitting to the Red Stylo anthology. This year they're doing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm not going to tell you what I'm pitching, but my understanding of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is Dr. Jekyll was the more monstrous character than Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde was a beast. He had no guilt. Anything that he wanted to do, he did without guilt. Now, what Jekyll was a guy who made a potion that he took, and he became another man. He became Hyde. Now, I don't know if this is the accurate story that Robert Louis Stevenson wrote, but with Jekyll, he didn't care what Hyde did. He didn't care because he didn't think that he was doing it. And eventually, the two of them averaged out. Like, the separation disappeared. So, what happened from the stories that I've read, the adaptations I've read, because I haven't read the original story, which I'm going to do for research. In the adaptations that I read, when they average out, when the separation goes away, Jekyll starts looking like Mr. Hyde. So people start accusing him of being Mr. Hyde. So he starts being attached to the things that Hyde's done. Meanwhile, Hyde is a separate personality, and he starts feeling guilty. He never felt guilt before, but he had a conscience when he started to average out with Jekyll. So, to me, Jekyll is the more monstrous of the two because he knows he's becoming this person and he doesn't care. He doesn't care what damage he does. He doesn't care. Like, he's not trying to solve the problem of what Hyde does. So, on that front, like, that's how I'm going to be, like, that mentality of, like, these two characters that, like, for one reason or another don't care, like, that's how I want to approach it, like, my story. So, God willing, I get through, or my pitch is, like, I think I have an interesting way of pitching things, like, in that, like, I pitch stories that I would like to read. I don't know how interesting that is to other people, but if I can be real about what I want to tell, then that's how I just go about doing things. And, like, it's worked out well for me on some things, it hasn't worked out well for me on others. Like, things that have, like, 500 submissions, I think I could be top 100. I think I could be better than 400 other people, but I'm just a writer, so, like, when I submit to these things, I'm at a disadvantage. It's like, I'm going to pitch you what I think is a great story, but it doesn't have the flavor. Like, it doesn't have, like, that visual zest that artists can bring to a project when they're pitching. Like, I could tell you about my Mr. Hyde or my Mr. Jekyll, and it falls on me to get through to you, like, my vision. But an artist, like, they just show them a piece of paper and, like, bang, all good. So, so Red Stylo, I'm going to be pitching for them, so I'm going to be working on that for this weekend. Then, on Instagram, I found this one not contest, but this one group, and, like, every so often I'm going to message these guys saying if they need a writer, because I've been following these guys for at least a year, and when I followed them, I never thought to say out loud, hey, do you guys need a writer? And, like, I always assumed, like, it was like a collective that Like they never posted that they were looking for things, but like I saw that they were looking for artists, and I was like, well, if they're looking for people, then why not ask? So I asked, and hopefully something comes through. So I'm going to be getting like some progress done on a story that's in development. I have an artist, I'm working with her, and I'm just really enthralled with like what I'm seeing, because I don't care what anyone says. Like, there's two things that you're never going to be able to like get tired of: seeing your name on a finished book, and then seeing art for the first time of something that you put into a script. You put it into words and someone's drawing it for real. And I really enjoy having my name on a book, but getting that art, oh. So there's that. Then, all right, third thing. Well, what's supposed? Okay. Third thing. I got my my notice from Top Cow. Top Cow's talent hunt. I don't know if I got in. I don't know if I'm good enough. I believe in myself. I believe in the story that I put together. But if they announce the winner and I'm not it, then but if I hear from them again, then I know I either came in first or second. So basically, I found out about this years ago, and they post the rules. They post the rules. They post how to enter. They post everything. And like, there's certain things that like on the SAT, your name and your information is 200 points. That is the entry for your test. If you get every question wrong, actually no, I think with SAT they minus points. So if you leave something blank, they don't take away points. But if you get it wrong, it's like they take away points. So anyway, if you leave every question blank on an SAT, you will get a 200 if you just put your name on it properly. So that's how I feel about like following the rules, because think about this: they get at least 1,000 submissions, and they flat out say anyone that does not follow the rules, we are chucking their submission. So you could have the greatest thing, you could put hundreds of hours into this one thing, and if you did something stupid like emailing them the pitch or not attaching your submission agreement, like, goddamn. So I went through it. I got it in on time. I got the email back saying, hey, this is what you got to work on. See if you can fix some stuff. And then I gave it to other people, like, to just give me like pointers, like this is the feedback I got. Like, if you have anything to add to it, or just to point out like the spots where where you think they're talking about, like there is very few things a person can do by themselves, very few, of meaning, and have it come out perfect the way they want it to and get the end result. Very few. So for most times, you're better off like seeing if you can get help from people. Like it's not a sign of weakness. It's not like it's a sign of intelligence to get help, just so that you know what you're doing. Because honestly, like, my goal is to get published by a major company, and you have to keep doing it, and that's the issue that I have. I have to keep doing it. Being a professional doesn't mean you get to paid for it. It means that you do it consistently and well enough that there's no issues with people. It means you can be counted on, that you act at a certain level, and there's a lot of crippling self-doubt in my head that I really have to get past and just be professional. If you know you're doing this, you're being a professional. So that's what I try to do. So that's pretty much it. I did some pre-writing on Whatever Happened to Shield Lad. I have that's the superhero story I want to have spot illustration for. So once I get the story written, it's going to be small, maybe 10,000 words, maybe less, of little vignettes that all tie together into a narrative. And once I get that done, see if anybody wants to draw in it, because I really want to make a light novel, sort of something. Not a series of light novels, just something for really smart kids. That's my target audience. Really smart kids that are between 14 and 20. That that's my target audience. So. Oh, by the way, I saw Frontier with Jason Momoa, and I liked it. It's got a good opening, and it's not like a 90s opening, but a legitimate, good, strong music, good graphics, and I like the opening of it, and I like that it's, you can't hammer down what it is. It's definitely a thriller. A lot of plots, a lot of trying to get ahead of the world. It's about people trying to be upping their game and all that stuff. And if I had one criticism of it, I know that it's nice to put all those nice quotes in it at the beginning. Some of them really work, but some of the quotes don't. They have a bearing, but they don't have a real place in my head for some of the episodes, because just to give you an idea what the show's about. It's brutally violent. You have people doing really psychotic stuff by today's standards. And so, all right, it's part crime drama. It's part political thriller. It's part it's not an action show with fight scenes and stuff like that. There's fights, but there's no fight scenes. There's no staged things where this guy versus this guy build up to the fight, all that stuff. There's no sweeping moments. It's vicious, it's brutal, and it's effective. And I think the quotes are more for commentary for people that are today thinking about the things that are going on, because it's part Western, it's part crime drama, it's part political thriller, because there's definitely, like, there's a lot of Western revenge elements in there. Like there's like a going native storyline for like this kid from Ireland stows aboard this ship, and his friends are either dead or in jail, and the guy in charge makes him a deal: go find this guy and like put in a good word for your girl in jail. And like I've watched the first season and it's good, but I'm really looking forward to season 2, so we're gonna see how it goes. So I've been thinking about a lot about like 90s video games, and I'm gonna end on this one. A lot of them were like, I'm talking Super NES games now. A lot of games were influenced by Aliens and Alien more so, I think. Aliens was an action movie where they killed a lot of aliens. Alien had the ship, the alien ship, and the one that you saw in Prometheus. So with Alien, there was a lot of H.R. Geiger either lifted or inspired artwork. I think he was a production designer on the movie. I'm not sure. I have to look that up. But the H.R. Geiger stuff in 90s video games was strong. Like almost every boss level had skulls and like repeating, well, just the nature of video games, like you saw repeated imagery. So and there was a lot of like ninjas or samurai or stuff like that, and there was, I forget the name of the game, but it was like mad scientist tries to take over the world, like tells everyone he's going to save the environment, but really he takes over the world and turns people into monsters and all that stuff. And like 2 cybernetic ninjas, because that's definitely a 90s thing, are out to save the world. Because like it's a total video game premise, because like it's clear, like you're the heroes, you have a choice of the tall character that's big and bulky or the shorter character that's more lean, and like there's not much difference between the two of them except maybe a few things here and there. Then you have to go fight monsters, and then you get to the main boss, and that's how you win. So like I did this kind of story a few years ago with like in Double Barrel Theater Presents Volume 1, it was iWeapon. So like iWeapon is like a nod to video games, like a real love letter, like to a lot of things I really liked. But I want to take like a similar concept and like similar to what I just told you about, but I want to work in like certain themes and ideas about like technology, because like I watched the Black Mirror episodes a few days ago, and very good. But here's the thing about Black Mirror, it's like people compare it to the Twilight Zone, and it sort of is, but I think the Twilight Zone wasn't as brutal as Black Mirror is, just because Twilight Zone didn't like it was more veiled. Like Black Mirror is basically saying, hey, we're not too far away from this technology, and this technology does not make things as better as we think we are. like there's some ethical and moral gray areas in this technology that's coming up. So with Twilight Zone, it spoke to like the politics of the day and stuff like that, like the space exploration that was going on, those kinds of topics, and it went from there. So, all right, so I'll see you guys on Monday. I want to keep it on my phone, so I'm going to see if I can find a better thing than this vent setup that I have going right now. It's not a suck-ass angle, but it's not what I'm going for. Like, it's like I gotta find a way to like either take the back of it off and just like put it over there that way, so that it's like a different angle, or I gotta get a stand for it, or one of those window or one of those suction cup. Anyway, I gotta find a better spot than this. But I'm gonna try and keep it on my phone for a while, because I found on my phone Adobe Clip, which, if anyone wants a good video editing app for simple stuff like this, like putting things together, that's the one I'm going to recommend. So, all right, peace.